Strength and Conditioning Podcast with my good friends here. Go around the room and introduce yourselves.
Hey, my name is Nathaniel Bullock. Right now I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Bay Ridge. I have a daughter and I have a wife, Marlena, and I'm just a happy person and go lucky.
My name is Chris Carr, from Massachusetts. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm Joe Fiscone. I'm from Illinois. Here to have a good time.
Glenn McDonald, I just retired from the Federal Bureau of Prisons for 28 years of service. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. And this is how we're going to start my retirement. We're going to do a little podcast every once in a while. Talk about fitness and corrections, correctional leadership, things like that. All right, Nate, so what's your BOP experience?
So my BOP experience, I started in 1994. I started in Fort Dix as a correctional officer, went on to Ferreton, New Jersey as a lieutenant, went from there to Coleman, Florida as a lieutenant, and went from Coleman, Florida to Yazoo City as a unit manager. From a unit manager, I went to MCC, New York as a unit manager, and then I went ahead and TDY to Brooklyn, New York as a unit manager, and now I'm currently going to Danbury as a unit manager. I have 27 years in with 4 years military.
When are you going to retire?
I'm looking at 2022 July. That'll put me at 28 years.
Nice. Chris?
I started in 1998 at the White Detention Facility in Central Falls, Rhode Island. I left there. I went to Devens, Massachusetts in 2000. Was an officer at Devens from 2000 to 2013, where I moved on as a lieutenant down in Mississippi at Yazoo, where I met these gentlemen again over and over. Left Yazoo City in 2015, went down to South Texas as a lieutenant again. Worked there from 2015 to 2019. Went from 2019 down in South Texas back to FMC Devens, and I have actually quite a few more years. I can do 15 more years, or I can retire in 3 years. So depending on where my path leads, that's where I'll actually that's where I'll end up.
Joe, what's your background?
Well, these guys have been doing corrections. I was in diapers when they were doing that. So I met Glenn through working out, working hard together. So I have nothing to do with any of the correction stuff. Just here as kind of an outside perspective to see where I can chime in. I've done some stuff along the way. We all have our own life experience. So just kind of to see where I can add into this conversation, and if nothing else, just learn a little bit about what you guys do. It's not inherently a job that I would want to do. I think that there's a lot of difficult stuff that you guys probably have to deal with, and it's probably something that's pretty thankless, I would imagine. Something that nobody really thinks about, that type of stuff. It's probably not even anything that crosses people's mind on a day-to-day. And it's
Well,
what
people also think they go into jail, you turn the key, and you throw away the key.
No, absolutely not.
And it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
So Joe, what's your background though? What do you do?
So as far as background goes, right now, I play with landscape lights all day, so that's kind of, that's what I do. But overall, a husband, a father, and just a young man trying to find my way in the world, kind of figure out, see what it's about. I know, just kind of younger generation. I heard your speech, you were saying you guys are kind of like more old school, so there's just a completely different mentality. So that's kind of where I hooked up with Glenn, is just, I think that there's lessons to be learned from both sides. I think that there's stuff that you guys
something missing?
Yeah, for me, something's definitely missing, in terms of just like like how you guys was saying, it's probably a pretty thankless job. You guys have been doing that for 20 plus years, and to be able to do that, like the one that I struggle with in life is like gratification. Like shit just takes time, you know what I mean? And it's not always glamorous. It's not always good times along the way.
Correct.
And that's something that I think is cool. That's Like that's what I was trying to convey to you, just like that hard work, showing up and doing the stuff that you don't want to do always, that just needs to be done. And you know, for you guys, it happens to be in a job that's, you know, maybe not people don't consider glamorous or something like that, but it's applicable to life. We all go through life, and there's different stuff that you don't want to do that needs to be done, and so I think that's just interesting. But yeah, just overall, just somebody trying to do better in life, health, fitness. I was a fat kid growing up. Through nutrition, have found a pretty decent space for myself. The fitness is the next part of my game that I really want to work on, get together. So,
I mean, none of us really want to grow up to be correctional officers. You know, whenever you hear like corrections and prisons, you watch all these TV shows, and the TV shows they don't really tell you the truth on what our lives are really all about.
Correct.
So our lives, it's a hidden society. You know, we're not on the streets, we don't have the body cams, we don't have the tasers.
Not yet.
We're living our lives inside razor wire, inside fences with ungodly amounts of killers around the world, especially working for the feds. So we have these killers inside these prisons, and we have to actually deal with them.
Yeah.
So it goes from the streets to lockup to county to whatever job that they, you know what I mean? I mean, not job, whatever crime that they committed.
That's correct.
And then they get spread around the United States. And then we have to deal with them on a daily basis. And it's a very, very tough life.
Yes.
It's a very tough life from the civilian world to what we do. Then we have to separate ourselves and grind every single day, you know, what we're doing.
Well, so that leads off to about fitness, about being physically and mentally strong to work in a job that people don't even know what it's really about.
Correct.
And the mental part alone is you have to be a super strong man, or the physical part, let's face it, most of the people in corrections, they're fat, they're out of shape.
You're absolutely right.
All they do is they abuse alcohol, tobacco, they have terrible sleep habits, mental health is horrible, and then that just draws them down to
sounds like
terrible
bad
fitness,
habits in general.
terrible
just,
fitness levels too.
I mean, our rates all the way across the United States, corrections are in the highest caliber for every single rate.
Yeah.
Divorce,
Suicide.
domestic abuse,
Yep.
all right, substance abuse. And what are we gonna do to change that? How are we gonna clear our minds to be able to do the job, come home to our families? We always say, right, leave it at the door.
Never gonna happen.
It's very hard for us to leave it at the door. How's it hard?
Bro, there's people who work in Burger King who fried chicken and French fries all day. Guess what they're gonna talk about when they get home? They're gonna, oh, I screwed up the French fries today. Right?
But Glenn, before we get this input, can we also get your background?
Oh yeah. Okay. So all right. So I just ended 28 years. I was started in Danbury in 1993. When I got out of the Marine Corps in '92, I was still an active duty reservist until '95. I started in the Bureau as a cook foreman in '93, and then I transferred to and activated ADX Florence as a cook foreman. I lost two children after a couple of days after birth. They both passed away. At the time, my ex-wife decided she wanted to go back to Connecticut to be close to family. I was lucky enough to get transferred back to Danbury as a correctional officer. I did that for quite a while to 2002. I stayed back in Danbury. Then I got to a lieutenant position at Devon's, where I met Chris back in 2002. Chris was a very young, naive correctional officer, but he had a fucking heart of gold, and he would just crush shit all the time. Heart of a lion all the time. I actually took over the disturbance control team, which is kind of like a riot team, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I was his team leader. He was one of the members on the team. And then I went from Devens, I went to Coleman, Florida as a GS-11 lieutenant, where I met Nate the Great at Coleman, Florida.
Yes.
Coleman, Florida was another story, which
Yes.
we'll probably do another podcast about.
Yes.
Because we could talk all,
Yes.
probably all day about that one. And so then from Coleman, I ran into several issues in Coleman as far as the administration there. We won't talk about that, maybe later.
Yes.
But I had to get out of there. I had to escape, basically. So I punched a ticket. I was able to get out of Coleman as a cook foreman and went to North Carolina. When I was in North Carolina, got really fat and nasty, even nastier, because my life was basically spinning out of control because of a lot of things that were going on. PTSD, alcohol abuse, all kinds of substance abuse, bad relationship, bad credit, bad, it was going on. It was going down. It was bad, real bad. I got to North Carolina. I started feeling that fire again inside me. I knew I had to go back to be a lieutenant. Then I went to Pollock, Louisiana, USP Pollock, Louisiana. When I got to Pollock as a GS-11 lieutenant, I got promoted to a GS-12 emergency preparedness officer, where I took over training basically for all the special operations teams, the disturbance control teams, hostile negotiation, planning section team, crisis support team.
Which is very important.
Definitely. Which you really have to embrace fitness and mental health and everything like that. Then I went from there. I was also a temporary captain there as a GS-13 for 7 months. I went from that to Yazoo City, where I ran into Chris again.
Which I told him not to. It was like, hey, listen, you're already a GS-12. Why are you gonna lateral transfer from a 12 to a 12?
No.
And I was already at Yazoo City, and then my mentor comes over now as my supervisor again.
But he wouldn't have met me again. So we met again.
Yep.
And we actually, believe it or not, mentored each other.
Yep.
Because Yazoo City was different. Yazoo City was its own character. We're not going to get into that. We'll say that for another time. Definitely. It was
Another
Yes.
problem. So then from Yazoo, I was a captain there at the low. From Yazoo, I got promoted to GS-13 to MCC Chicago. Here I am, and now I'm retired after almost 5 years of being there.
Prior to Glenn retiring, he just don't want to say it. He was also EDM.
Oh, employee development manager.
Yes.
So over training over the whole institution.
Glenn did a lot, trust me.
A little bit of experience.
Very, very much.
Definitely.
All right, so as far as fitness, like, what do you think, Joe, let's hear your side on this. What do you think, somebody who has no experience in corrections, what do you think, if you're a brand new officer, what do you think they need to do to stay fit to work in corrections?
I would imagine that it's going to be just a general baseline of fitness across the board. You want to be strong. You want to, what's the word? Endurance. You want to be able to mentally you're going to get into some pretty sticky situations, I would imagine, and things can go, break bad like that. You know what I mean? In a moment's notice. So I would imagine it's the ability to handle that physical stress. I don't know if that's getting into more the mental side of it, but it's being prepared for anything is what I would imagine would be something that you guys would need, something you're gonna,
Now, I know the things you do on the side, which is what do you do, like cold training, what else you do?
Yeah, so I like to do cold training, I like to walk around with weight a lot. Fitness is really the one that I need to get more well-rounded in. My mobility is awful. I can do stuff standing up, I can do stuff bending over, like in between the bending over. The hips don't move right, too much sitting in public school and not worrying about fitness, but
even on that, think about that. Like, if you're an officer or you work in a unit team capacity or any other capacity, you're sitting in an office all day.
Yeah.
So if you're not physically fit, you're not eating right, things like that.
Oh
what,
yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna go all downhill. And then nutrition is huge. Like that's been the one thing I'll take credit on for myself is I've conquered, or at least gotten a good idea of. I have a baseline strategy of eating to where if I just went and implement those principles every day, I'm not ever gonna get fat. I might not be walking around with a six pack, but I'm gonna be. I went from being fat to now I'm trying to get the six pack is where I'm at, and that's just through. Now I'm getting kind of weird and weighing stuff out, but I mean, it's really just been on basic principles of loan of just trying to, I don't know, I hate the term diet because a diet gets you nowhere. You crash and burn on a diet. You lose 10 pounds, you gain 20.
Correct.
So it's about figuring out what's something sustainable that you can stick to over the long haul. And so I would imagine, especially in something that you guys do, that's something that you need to figure out. How can I do something that's sustainable?
Right.
You had I go back to you were saying the people, flipping burgers at Burger King complaining about how they made the fries wrong. I probably don't even know your worst day at work. It's probably a scenario like, I say like, oh, this is your worst day, and you probably tell me the story was even worse.
Correct.
And so shit like that happens. I can see where you go home, you go to the alcohol, the drugs, the food, just those bad lifestyle choices. You're probably just left there trying to process what just happened, let alone thinking about what you're putting into your mouth, what you're doing. Like I can imagine that's something that's super hard to keep on top of with just the stress, and it's probably a different stress than I've ever dealt with. You know what I mean? I've never done anything. I've never even been in a fight before, let alone I was a very tame
We can
child.
go right now.
Oh man, I don't want to embarrass you in front of the camera.
Well, what I'll say is it's a totally different type of stress.
Yeah.
So by the time we wake up, when we wake up as correctional officers and federal officers, like what we do, it's an instant when you get up, your mind is already twirling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What you got?
What you already got coming on, what the day's coming on, what's about to happen, what may happen, what might not happen. So our lives are kind of like 0 to 60.
Is that from just the unknown?
It's always the unknown.
Because the unknown for you guys is somebody's coming at you to shank you or whatever.
Yeah, and even our lives in the civilian world. And I'll definitely say this, and I know you guys are gonna totally agree. When I go in a restaurant, I pick my seat.
Yeah.
I have to sit down in a certain way to see the exits. We just don't shut off. And
I can completely relate to that in the sense of any job that I've ever worked. You start to I remember in high school I was working a job that was doing landscaping.
Right.
Everywhere I went, I would pick out and see where it needed to be weed whacked. So
Exactly.
apples and oranges, but the point is you're in that frame of mind and you just see that. So something like that where you guys are in a high stress situation, you got to watch your back at all times. I can totally understand where that's coming from and how it needs to be that meticulous down to the details. And as silly as picking,
absolutely.
It may sound silly, but it's no. If not, I would imagine it probably puts you in a state of panic almost, just because you're like,
We are, absolutely.
But what about with all that being said, you're getting ready for work. The last thing you're thinking about is what am I going to eat at work? That's going to make me feel good for possibly a 16-hour shift.
True.
You're more like, you know what? I don't need nothing. Let me go stop and I'll get a Red Bull or some crap like that. Right. Just to get my
burrito from 7-Eleven.
Get my heart racing.
Right.
And then it's
I totally agree.
You slam that Red Bull, you're all jacked up, you get into work, and shit starts kicking off, or nobody comes into work to cover post, or anything like that, or the boss is yelling at you already, the captain's in your ass about something that you have no control over.
Correct.
Guess what? The last thing then you go to
the wheel of death.
You go to the machine.
The wheel of death.
Let me get a Snickers. Everybody wants a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
I always want a Snickers bar.
Yeah, satisfies.
Fucking great, right?
Satisfies, right?
So
you're hangry
as far as
Snickers.
I think one of the big things is what I try to do when I was in there. I always tried to food prep. I always tried to make meals ahead of time, at least 2 to 3 days ahead. So then I would have something.
Right now
That
I'm
was
doing
good.
that, and I'm not even worried about going to work and getting killed. I'm having a hard enough time doing that, just playing with lights, trying to come home from a stressful day and just throw whatever together, or you're real hungry, and sometimes the problem for me is you got that that big plate in front of you. It's got to be a full plate. Like what the fuck's a half plate? Something like that. But
I think what Glenn is basically going to, and this is what's very important now here, is basically we should have a standard. And I think if we had a standard at the
Like a
BOP,
what? A physical standard?
yes, where, okay, we get an evaluation every quarter.
Right.
So that quarter,
Why
you
can't
know
we
it's
do a
coming,
PT test?
you have to do a PT test. And with that PT test, just like the military, you go by age, because I get it, some people are older, some people can't do something. But it should be a standard as push-ups, sit-ups, dips. It should be something. And if you can't do that, do the basics, like don't quit. And then once you get there, you get your score, and out of your total score, it's not about if you don't meet the push-up guideline. Just give us a total score. So our total score be a 300. And like when we shoot, 310. As long as you get the basic, which is 240, you pass. And because with that, if I know every quarter, just like every quarter I'm looking for an O. That's me. He's looking for an O. Glenn's looking, because I know I am an O. And then people around you, they want an O. You know what I
If
mean?
you achieve that,
Right.
If you achieve that level of max score,
Of course.
You
And
get an O.
so no matter
like
what,
that.
you may eat, you may cheat, but you know this quarter is coming. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna get to 240? And then when you get to 240, I'm not saying termination, but you get this. You get a letter. And in that letter, it says, within next week, you have to pass. And if you don't pass, then we going here. And then from there, you go here, and then you gotta go.
So I want to chime in here. I think that's like from my side, I think what's missing is like that accountability. So you're talking about it in a workplace, right?
Yes.
People need to do that to themselves and have
Sure.
a standard that
Yep.
you need to uphold for yourself.
But we're not.
We're not, and that's what I'm looking
but
for.
What I'm saying is we're not, because you gotta understand, just like Chris said, I mean, the thing about it is, imagine what Glenn been through, imagine what he been through. He basically had a gun pointed to his head. We have today associate wardens shooting their husband. It's a lot of stuff going on, because remember, now military, okay? PTSD, I'm taking 4 different medications. Asthma, taking medication for that. I have sinuses. I can't even smell certain things, right? I can't. So we have all that going on. We have our lives with our woman that we pick. Yes, it's our choice, but then we pick the wrong woman. And we do that because we don't have a stable life.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So now we go out here, we're looking for something, we're looking for that commitment, that love, but we find it in the wrong way. And that's why we go through this stuff. It's right, 2 or 3 divorces. It's crazy. So you have to have a standard. With that standard, think about it. It's gonna better your life.
Oh, yeah.
With a woman, because now this woman knows, oh, this guy is gonna work out. If you're not part of me, we're not doing it. Just like your wife, she works out.
Yeah.
Whoever he's with, they gotta work out. Whoever he's with gotta work out. My wife has to work out. Well, I'm not playing a game. And you just have to set that. If we had that standard, I think the BOP would be one.
and just like today, or actually this whole weekend, what do? We worked out. You know
Just
what?
like today. What did you tell me today? We wasn't supposed to work out today, and then Glenn goes, "Hey, Bullock, I got bad news." Now, automatically, no, because of what we go through, I lost a lot of people just recently from 4 days. A lot of people. A lot of people.
From what?
Death.
From what though?
Either cancer, suicide,
Right.
or retiring and not knowing what to do, and they die. Honestly. So it's just unbelievable. So when Glenn says to me, "Oh, I got bad news," the way he said it, I already was thinking, "Damn, man, you're looking at
Somebody
your
died.
phone, somebody had died." That's automatically come to me, just the way. See, and it wasn't like, "Hey, he's coming over." Then when he said, "Hey, he's coming over, we got to do a workout," was I a little in my feelings? Was I upset? Yes, but I was more happy to hear that
Yeah.
than to hear, "Oh, this person died."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last month, no lie.
Yeah.
You go on the Fort Dix page right now, I can put you on it right now, and 6 people died. And just like
I bet if you think about every single one of those people, there's some type of issue with that person.
Smoking,
whatever it is.
drinking,
Yep.
partying,
Yep.
we forget. We go, okay, I'm gonna retire, but fitness has to be in there. And here's the thing, we're gonna have a conversation later with Chris. Stop the excuses. It don't matter. You got handicapped people out there. Okay, my wife right now has a handicapped cousin. Handicapped, okay? He's in the Olympics right now. He's handicapped. You can't make no excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, my leg, you can't. You have to do something. If it's upper body, whatever, you have to get into it. Walk. So I started walking. I started sending to Glenn. I'm gonna start walking, riding my bike for 14 miles. You have to get it, just like you said.
Well, that's how simple it is, because the issue is I think people, I don't know, you would, if you're not giving 100% or you're not doing, something stupid and hard, it's not working. If you're not puking out, you're puking because your leg workout.
Right, we just talked about it earlier.
You're not doing that, then you're a pussy. You're not doing enough. But I mean, going on a walk,
But doing
it's
something,
forward progress. A walk turns into. The other night I went on a walk and it turned into a run. And it was, I seriously caught myself, I was like, I don't know what's going on right now. It was like, I've been working out for like a week and it just like, it took over and it was something weird because I didn't plan on it. I had worked all day, it was like 9 o'clock at night, dark, cold out, and I was walking fast and the dog was moving along and then I just found myself running. I was like, but it's like that transition will happen. You don't need to go from 0 to 60, to go up slow, and you're going to make progress, and along the way,
Exactly.
you might be able to sustain 60 then in the future, but if you don't do anything all day and then you're expecting to go run a marathon tomorrow, of course you're going to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think it's something that's sustainable, and those good strategies, and I know, like I was saying, that's what helped me is trying to find just things that are sustainable and easy. It really comes out of a place of education, and then putting that education to work, trying to create a little bit of wisdom out of it, something like that. So it's trying to figure out something that's where you can get it on autopilot, don't even have to think about it, because it's just those good disciplines are in there. And then I know for myself, it's only been a week, but working out for a week straight, my head's in such a better place of just doing it. It gives you something to do instead of sitting there getting.
No, but a lot of people just want to go home and play Call of Duty all day.
Yeah.
But what's
And eat Cheetos.
right now, like in New England, Chicago, what's prettier right now? Than being outside. You're seeing a leaf fall, hearing a bird chirp.
Yeah.
Because in the next month or so,
Yeah, it's gonna be gone.
Right.
Oh yeah.
winter's gonna fall,
Oh yeah.
and then everybody wants to get cooped in the house, and especially with the COVID stuff.
Oh yeah.
We've already been locked in the house for a year and a half, 2 years now, and it did take away from a lot of what people were doing.
Oh yeah, though it's hard.
So, you add that mental stress plus the stressors of what we do for a living, and we work different shifts. We don't get home for birthdays and holidays, and it just keeps adding and building and building and adding, and then your stressors and your depression get spun out of control, and then you start eating, and before you know it, you're not mentally.
I can say, you said something about COVID. I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy that COVID hit. It made me and my wife come together even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Like the relationship, and I do, I feel for you because, but when you're married and you have that companion, and it's like, you have to be with that person 24/7. So now it's a different thing how you're looking at, okay, am I gonna go in my room, because I have a separate room, I need my time. She needs her time. She have to watch her, Housewives. But we was cuddling together. We was sitting down, spending time. I'm watching things I don't even watch on TV. The Squid thing. I mean, I'm like, what the hell is this show? But you got to spend that time. So then when COVID did open, it was more like with me and my wife. Every Friday I do boys' night, every Friday. But now my wife was like, hey, let's go out. So I tell the boys, that's no choice. I'm going out with my wife. So now we're spending more time together. So COVID brought us to, we was already together. Like me and my wife is inseparable. But to spend that quality time, It's unbelievable.
It's a reassessment of
Yes.
what matters
And I think
in the.
yes, we need the COVID.
Well,
Yeah.
like what we did, me and Karina did was we went from going to the gym
Mhm.
every single night, working out at a CrossFit gym, to building our own
Yes.
home gym in the garage.
Yeah. Look at it. It's beautiful.
And every single night that sometimes I couldn't work out because I was at work because of COVID for freaking, I don't know, 16, 18, and 20 hours a day sometimes.
Absolutely.
And it went on for months at a time, and stress level was like you can't even understand the stress. Especially at the time I was a captain, and you know everything was basically falling on me. And I you know, you can ask some people. We did a really good job at it, I thought. But coming home, even totally wore out. That next day, if I could get home on time, we'd smash a workout.
Yes.
Smash it.
Yes.
And I think because we were already pretty fit before it happened, our fitness level increased even more.
Yes.
Because with Joe, we get together on the weekends all the time. We just go out and just destroy each other, rucking, sandbag workouts, kettlebell workouts, and it was just crazy at times.
Pushing yourself to the limit. And
Crazy.
as you said, you know, maybe you can't do this, maybe find something that you can do, because everybody has something they could do. Just like at work. Why do you think with the correction, why do you think it all comes together? Honestly, it's not because he's a captain or he's a lieutenant. It's because each one of us, Chris is all into DCT and SWORD. If it wasn't for him, believe me, SWORD wouldn't be what it was. If it wasn't for Glenn to train him, being a great captain, a leader, you know, bringing, you know, he don't want to say it, but Chicago, it was a mess. He brought them to a superior. You know, this is the same place where inmate, you know, would escape
out
through,
of
yeah,
them,
escape out of a window. Yeah.
Two of them.
So he brings this place up here where people are looking at him like, who is this guy? Who is it? For real. And people loved him. We saw that last night. And it's like everybody has something to do.
Yeah.
Everybody. Just like you with the lights. If it wasn't for you, Glenn wouldn't have the lights set up. You know what I mean? And he met that friendship to where he didn't have to go outside and say, hey, how much you going to charge me for this? And out of no clue, this guy overcharging.
Mm-hmm.
So you are, you know, here for a reason. Everybody's here for a reason. Me coming down, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. And I knew when I came down, I had to put it in my mind. I work out, but I'm like, hey,
You don't
I'm
work
about
out.
to get burned.
You're about to get
I'm
smoked.
about to get
Yeah,
burned.
you went all in, you got smashed, and you went and bought yourself a pair of toe shoes, a sandbag, a weight vest, the whole
And then I
nine
wanted
yards.
to stop, and he said one thing to me.
Bitch!
And I just kept going. So, you know, that's what we do. We push each other. And you do have to, like, I wanted to be pushed over the limit, even if I felt like throwing up, because sometimes you have to do that in order to keep it right here. You have to. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to walk 2 miles every day. You're not going to accomplish
It's
anything.
not enough.
You're not.
It's not enough.
If you
Because,
don't-
especially in corrections.
Yes.
Because I mean, think about it. If you did, like Chris works in that area where there's a compound, you have
Yes.
to run. Well, not right now. Staff have to
I have to
run.
attempt to run.
Staff have to run from lieutenant's office or somewhere around there and go.
Quarter
Hell,
mile.
when I worked there,
It's a
they're
quarter
quarter
mile.
mile.
It's a quarter mile.
To run to an incident where you might have an inmate either stabbing each other or assaulting a staff member, or stabbing a staff member,
Yes.
just going crazy. And you gotta have that fitness level and that mental fitness level to get up there and then actually do something.
Yeah.
And I think people have absolutely lost it. There's some people out there, but it's a small percentage.
Yeah, well, you see that outside. You see that in real life. You go,
Yeah.
you go out
Oh,
on
yeah.
the street. You take
Yeah.
the average American. You say go run that quarter mile.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do
Can't. Not even a
No.
quarter mile.
It's
with
not
their-
the fact that they can't do it. They won't do it or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to do it. I know that.
Well, let's go back to Chris. He don't have to run with them. Think about it, right? Chris does what? He teaches them,
He's leading.
right? So when you get there, what are you gonna do? They don't need him anymore. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes leaders have to sit back. Because if you have to go to every fight, then you're no good. You're not teaching your people. So Chris, on the other hand, is teaching them to go to the fight,
Take care of business.
take care of business, and bring the fight over here. And we got this. So believe me, with that said, in a heartbeat, I'll say, anytime, as a unit manager, I'll work for him.
Yeah.
He don't have to go. I'm not going, oh, the captain can't run nowhere, the lieutenant can't run nowhere. Everybody that runs there, what if you get there, you out of breath and you no good? I've seen it. Oh, now,
2 minutes.
now here's the thing. How does it help when this guy's stabbing another officer, now I gotta drag you out?
Yeah.
We're not accomplishing anything.
Nope.
So with Chris, right here, his knowledge, his experience, he's still doing the same thing. We all have something that.
But what that comes down to is what I always tried to instill in people when I was a captain and EDM, I always told them, hey man, stop with the excuses and just go do something. Because
Exactly.
Joe, if you didn't know this, that almost every single institution, I'd say probably every single one, is one thing they all have is what? A fitness center. Free, pretty good equipment.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty good equipment.
How many people
At
use it?
Devon's right now, I'll give a shout out to Warden Spalding, Warden Spalding. He put a lot of money into our institution's fitness center. Absolutely gorgeous, bought all brand new equipment.
Right.
From back in the day when we used to work out there, it was like a dungeon.
Yeah.
We got all new equipment, anything,
Whatever you want.
state of the art stuff.
Yeah.
How many people use it though?
And what's sad is it's usually the first thing they drive by when they go into work.
Do they get
It is the last thing they drive by when they leave work, and nobody goes in there.
Let me ask you this, guys. Are you given the support to put that as a priority, or is that something you're going like above and beyond?
Well, I mean, that's one thing that I wish.
Because you're done with a 16-hour day. Is it on you to make it a 17-hour
But when we
day?
was
or-
in
That's up to
Mississippi,
you. That's
when
up
we
to
was
you.
in Mississippi,
Yeah.
Glenn put some stuff out and we was actually doing, we're gonna walk. You know, putting this out there to staff. Well, what time? 6 o'clock. So the staff that couldn't be there, fine. But the other staff that made it there, it was like, wow, you wanna go to that. So, let's get off. If you're not working overtime, stop. Bring your shorts, let's go. You can only do so much.
Or even like what I used to push on you all the time. Hey Nate, let's work out. Hey Nate, you ever hear a go rock?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Oh hell no, I ain't doing that. Guess where
did.
you were? You did it.
I signed the petition.
He signed the death warrant.
Yeah.
He went to the go rock event. Joe's done a bunch of them. I've done a bunch of them.
I would do it again.
And I tell people all the time, just like I told you, the mainline strength and conditioning. It's going to be about building staff to be better, physically and mentally. But the excuses have to stop.
Yeah.
They have to stop because there's so many things out there. All you need is like Nate was saying, is a sandbag, maybe a kettlebell, a jump rope.
Use your body.
Maybe
weight.
or
You can
just
do air
use
squats, push-ups.
But Glenn, I think, I'm sorry to cut you. I think
Yeah.
when people say go row, right? Let's say if Glenn says, let's go to the hardware. People are thinking that I have to do everything in that. You don't.
You know,
No, you go and do.
Yeah, you go do your thing, push yourself to lever, stop, rest while they doing it. Yeah, they're gonna push you. Hey, stop, you need to get down. Right here, you have to be, because if you do, you're gonna do it.
but it's your level. If
Right.
you put 100% into what you're trying to do, even if you can do 2 push-ups,
Mhm.
and you're doing those 2 push-ups 100%, you're good.
Think about
You're
carrying
trying.
a sandbag. You have out of 15 different sandbags you got to carry. So what? You can't carry the 80-pound bag. You stay on that 40-pound the whole time, and that's a 40-pound sandbag that the guy carrying the 80 doesn't have to worry about. That's that type of mentality.
And they're not gonna let you fall. Like if I fell back, you got Glenn and 2 other guys gonna be picking me up, get my sandbag, and they're gonna be walking with me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's what the people is all. I'm telling you, I was impressed.
And it was, and
I'll be back, guys.
Yeah, and I pushed that because of, what do you think you have to do to pick an inmate up?
We do it right in the academy.
Yeah.
We do it right in the academy, the dummy drag. It's part of your employment. You actually have to do a dummy drag across the gym floor, right?
Yep.
Back and forth 4 times.
I didn't do that, I'm too old.
Or saving a staff member, Chris.
Oh, you had dummy drag dinosaurs. I mean, that's
Or
cool.
saving a staff member.
That's
Trauma
right.
staff.
That's right.
People not, and the average person, I'm telling you, I see it all the time. I'm in Brooklyn right now. We go run to a body alarm and it's an inmate upstairs because they have the upstairs. And people go in, and as soon as they see an inmate down, they run back down the steps. Because, oh, we're not lifting that. They can't.
Right, they can't.
They can't.
Yeah.
And Believe me, the most biggest big guy, I'm always there, picking the guy up. And it doesn't matter how big you are. It's your endurance. It's basically saying, okay, this is what I want to do. And I tell the guy, I don't care how big you are, if you want to sort, but if you, once you get there,
in this
you gotta get.
first edition
And I see it all.
of Mainline Strength and Conditioning Podcast, Joe's got to go.
Gotta go. I just gotta say, it was really cool to talk to you guys and hear your experience on it. The thing that I learned most is I think that you guys all have the heart of a lion. I think to go through all that stuff, you have to have really good intentions and a really good heart to go through all that, and the willingness to put up with a lot, and strong conviction, and I think it's super cool, and I just wanted to share that with you guys, just look you all in the eye and say, regardless of this, it was just really cool to listen and hear you guys talk.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you guys.
We got
I'm just gonna say, stay safe, always watch your six. For law enforcement purposes, make sure that any of the guys that you're really tight with, always get their back, no matter what. They need you, they call you, make sure you're there. You know, in this agency, in law enforcement alone, you know, you're around the same people all the time, but you don't know what's really going through their mind. We do have a very high.
all right.
You take care.
See you
Pleasure
guys.
meeting both of you guys. Look forward to doing it again in the future.
We have a very high suicide rate, alcoholism, divorce rates. So just make sure that you're always paying attention to your staff. Make sure you're always paying attention to your brothers. You know, we try to act like men and no, nothing's bothering us, we're good, and we act like alpha males all the time. No, that's garbage. That's garbage. All right, just make sure you're always watching your fellow brother six, and just be safe.
With me, I have to give, Joe some credit. Basically, he's looking at us as law enforcement. I've seen videos of him right now having that mentality of walking through 0-degree weather and going into the water. So I give it up to him also. I know he had to leave, but that takes a lot. It's just not working in the BOP. That right there, he can save lives. And, it could be somebody who's drowning. A little kid walk out there in the winter and break some ice. And he can actually go out there because he has it mentally in his mind. Me personally, I would go out there and probably kill myself just saving the baby, but his mind is already set for that. So back on the part about the prison, the biggest thing for me now is, that I'm retiring, spending time with my brothers, my real brothers, my brothers who are loyal to me, their families who are loyal to me, and people who treat me the way I want to be treated. So with that said, I think we need to, no matter what it is, spend more time together. I know it's COVID and all that, but this here set a tone to where, I don't care where I have to come. A ticket is a ticket. I definitely want to do this more often and spend time with you brothers.
Absolutely, definitely. All right, so we're gonna end it here. Just remember, take care of each other. Keep training all the time. You have to train like you fight. You have to do that, especially in corrections. My two brothers, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys coming out, especially for my first one.
Yes.
I wish Lee and CJ were here, but they left a little earlier than I wanted them to.
For the next one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But
Next
until next time, guys, take it easy. Take care of each other. Bye.